Welcome to Community Crypto on CoinDesk TV. I'm your host, Isaiah Jackson, and this week we are discussing CityCoins and the new community of local residents who can use cryptocurrency in their local city. I'm joined now by Patrick Stanley, CEO of FREEHOLD and one of the community leads at CityCoins. I want to remind everyone that this is not financial advice. Welcome to the show, Patrick.
Hey, how's it going, Isaiah? Good to see you again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Glad to have you on. And, I wanted to start off with you telling us about your background in the crypto space and how you became a part of the CityCoins community.
Yeah, sure. So previously I was the head of growth at Stacks. Stacks is essentially, it's a smart contract protocol on Bitcoin. And it's about a $3 billion protocol at this point. I was head of growth there for about 3 years, and I spun out and created FREEHOLD. And one of the projects FREEHOLD is very bullish on is CityCoins, which I'm a community lead of. And before Stacks, I'd been into Bitcoin since like 2012, and really only became like an intense, hodler from what I could afford with my meager paycheck at the time, maybe around the mid 20 teens.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, always good to hear that origination story, and shout out to all the Bitcoin OGs out there who's been around. Going on 10 years now, so coming up to a decade, absolutely. Oh yeah, so explain to us what exactly is CityCoins and what is the community around CityCoins trying to build?
Sure. So CityCoins are city-based tokens. They are built on Stacks, which is built on Bitcoin. And the community is a civic-minded community that wants to improve their cities. So they largely want to increase state capacity to make citizens' lives healthier, wealthier, happier, etc. So I see this how it works diagram up on the screen, and this is simple, but takes a little time to go through, and I'll try to give like a very brief kind of illustration of what's going on. I'll actually start on the way right, and just say you see that city wallet over there on the way right. That is a reserved wallet that's reserved for the city. The city can spend the funds that accrue to that wallet however they like, and so at this time, the first two cities that have been activated by CityCoins are Miami and New York, and they both have wallets with about $25 million and $30 million respectively in them. It's like, okay, so where'd they get that money? How did we fund those cities? Well, the community funded it through the mining mechanism, which you can see on the way left. So miners transfer Stacks to the mining contract, and 30% of the funds go directly to the city. 70% of the funds, those Stacks, go directly to city coin holders for that specific city. So in this case, it's New York. You're seeing on the screen, and the winning miner just wins city coins, right? So the people who are stacking on the right in the city, they're not earning any city coins. They're just earning Stacks. Stacks also happen to yield about 10% APY in Bitcoin, which is pretty nice. Okay, so why is this important? This is important because we've just created a new mechanism for funding governments that doesn't involve taxes. This could actually replace taxes one day. That's no joke. Even yes. The mayors of these cities are saying that and believe that. And separately, these city coins are programmable, so you can build applications that didn't exist before, and you can build a community that is built around the coin. There's real value in doing that, like truly.
Oh yeah, and I love the fact that, like you stated before, get straight to the point. We can get rid of local taxes, and I think that is something very promising for every mayor who's looking to run in cities, whether incumbent or not. If you can basically present an idea where you can either lower or get rid of local taxes without having to go the fiat route, I think that's something very special. And what is Stacks? Because I know that with CityCoins, people may attribute it to different, Miami, New York. But I think people need to understand the Stacks layer as well to understand exactly why this is important for CityCoins to work. So how does Stacks work, and how is it created?
Yeah, sure. So Stacks are a cryptocurrency that enables smart contracts on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is a very limited scripting language. You can't do very much with Bitcoin. And so a lot of people look at Bitcoin as just a dumb rock. They view it as digital gold. We view Bitcoin as a productive asset that can do a lot more if you're able to program it, if you're able to just create new things that involve Bitcoin. And so, people are creating Bitcoin powered DEXs. People are creating new assets like CityCoins. People are creating stable coins that are Bitcoin backed. And this is like a true sort of breakthrough for Bitcoin. And I think what the Stacks ecosystem realizes is that Bitcoin is sovereign money. It's hard money. And then what you want above that is smart contracts build on the hard money. You don't want to try to change Bitcoin and turn it into anything it's not. Like, it's good as is. Like, you don't need to change it very much. But we should build on it. And like the last thing I'll say about, Stacks is, I guess like we believe Bitcoin is like, the world reserve currency. In our minds, Bitcoin is the world reserve currency. And so the contrarian but right path that we believe is that, actually Bitcoin is the category winner and you should just build on it. And you should have as many cap tables, as many smart contracts, as many tokens, as many applications built on it as you possibly can that settle on it. So we view Bitcoin as like just a big settlement layer, in addition to being, like pure money, hard money.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think people need to understand the settlement layer and the security that's involved. I mean, if you have Bitcoin as the base layer, you have what is the hardest money, secure money. And then you build on top of that, and you don't have to worry about some of these other protocol problems that we've seen with scaling, with fees, with some of the other issues, rug pulls. I mean, you name it. We've seen it in other 99.9% of the industry. But building on top of Bitcoin with Stacks, I think, is very important. And I'm glad you pointed that out. And because of Stacks, we have CityCoins and the first two that have come out, MiamiCoin and NYCCoin. If you could give us some of the utilities you think some of these cities will have for these coins outside of just taxes.
Yeah, sure. So obviously, like first base is just fundraising for the city. Can we do that? Check. Yes, we can do that. There's kind of we've gotten like almost $30 million for each of these cities in like weeks and months, not years and decades. Like that's pretty insane. Right. And so we validated that works. Now, second base is building more utility, and this can happen permissionlessly from the community, and it can also happen from the government itself. So I'll give you an example with the government itself, then move to some use cases with the community. So with the government, you have folks like Mayor Suarez, who announced a Bitcoin dividend to all his voting citizens. And that is insane. I'll explain how it works, but that is insane because essentially what he just did was turn Miami into like an oil-rich country that pays its citizens. Like I would the UAE does that, and like Alaska might, I think, does that in some part. And what it recognizes is that Miami is like a protocol. It's a resource. It's like it's something that can be utilized and should enrich its citizens. So how that works is all the stacks that have accrued to Miami's reserved wallet are currently being stacked. And I think they've generated like $150,000 worth of Bitcoin in the past month. So what they're going to do is they're just going to drip that Bitcoin to their citizens every quarter. And so as the stacks amount goes up, as they accrue more stacks, that Bitcoin dividend should grow bigger as well. So fast forward 10 years, you're talking, potentially, and don't quote me, but potentially hundreds, if not thousands of dollars per year are going to citizens in Bitcoin. Like that is insane. And that's incredible. Okay. So that's that's one thing the government did. And there's a whole bunch of other things they can do. But the other thing that you can do as a community is you can program, CityCoins to do certain things. So I have a few I have a few ideas around that. So sorry, one sec. I have a few ideas around that. So one thing is this idea of proof of HODL access control. So imagine logging in, like signing into a physical space by holding your Miami coin or New York City coin. Okay, so it's a kind of whimsical idea, but one of the reasons it's kind of cool is you're actually kind of conceptually expanding the territory of that city. So like a city was previously defined by its actual borders. Well, now you could have like a Miami embassy in Berlin, and it's only accessible through Miami coin. It's like, well, conceptually, is that kind of Miami? Like under law? No, but under smart contract law, kind of yes. And I think that's an interesting sort of concept. People will do things like fund local journalism by delegating their protocol rewards that you get as a CityCoin holder. You can earn as a CityCoin holder. There's other ideas like you can essentially get these city coins accepted at point of sale. So like that would be huge. Like imagine if everyone in New York City and Miami and all these other cities were using their own city currency. The more it gets used, obviously, the more the community gets enriched. Essentially, the community will earn more Bitcoin. Like with Suarez's Miami, like the community will earn more Bitcoin as a function of Miami being used. So like we're on first base. We've already validated as a community that this funds cities. Now we're going to get to second base, which is getting utility. And just recently, if you go to stacks.ac/citycoins, there's a startup accelerator with some, frankly, like badass mentors. Like we have the founder of Skype, we have Balaji Srinivasan, we have the two founders of Stacks, the CMO of Consensus, Ryan Hoover from Product Hunt, Trung Fan. Like we have so many great people that are mentors that are looking to essentially build the app store for cities.
Right. Wow. That's amazing. And all of the use cases you've named, I hope cities that are watching, any officials, you're taking that down and you're applying it to yourself. But I wanted to ask you, one thing I've seen, because I love this project, and just to walk it back, basically you can earn Bitcoin by investing stacks, and then you have utility with a city coin so that you can support your local city while also earning a dividend. And that is what I call people a win-win. So I just want to make sure we point that out. That is the solution that is coming here. And then, as you said, building the app store for that, because with accelerators, you're just basically building out the entire new ecosystem. So love to see that. But one thing that always trips it up, because innovation is great, but one thing that always trips it up is regulators. And I wanted to ask you, do you think that the fundraising of NYCCoin and then also having a Bitcoin mayor, Eric Adams, do you think that will sway some of the regulation in places like New York, which have historically been some of the worst places for regulation? Do you think this could actually help local people sort of sway the way that they think, or do you think bankers will still try to do it the old way?
Yeah, so I think one thing you're kind of alluding to is this the BIT license that is yes. Currently active in NYC. The BIT license has been an incredibly restrictive, overly cumbersome. Frankly, it's just been a bad law, and essentially, it took too big of a bet on New York City being the center of finance, and it's currently punishing New York as a city and limiting New York City's growth. The person who created that is this guy named Ben Losky, who essentially just created that law and then became a consultant to earn fees to help people comply with the law, which is like pretty messed up if you ask me. That said, rules and regulations exist for a reason. Not all are good. Some are good, and we should always abide by the law. And I'd say I think things like CityCoins actually kind of like open the window to understanding how we can build crypto civilization as opposed to crypto anarchy. What we want is we want to upgrade. We don't want a revolution. We don't want change. We want progress. We want improvement. We want an upgrade. And so, these sort of things, real innovation does not happen inside of a regulatory sandbox. It just doesn't. And the reality is, things like CityCoins truly are more like they're more like a natural resource than anything else. There's no ICO, so there's no primary issuer, there's no pre-mine, there's no greed involved. It's a true utility protocol, and we're seeing it become successful. And I think, frankly, think frankly, I think Elon Musk actually had a pretty good comment on this. And when he was asking, like, what should regulators do with crypto? He's like, nothing. Don't do anything. And the reality is, like, you have don't do anything. You have $8 billion of overdraft fees, being applied to poor people on an annual basis. And you have $80 million. So literally one order of magnitude. Sorry, you have $80 million of crypto fraud. And like, there's no fraud happening with this project. There's no fraud happening with a lot of crypto projects. I think generally speaking, the U.S. can essentially, the U.S. won the internet, like the Web 2 internet, and it has a chance to win the next internet, the internet of value. And right now, you can think of the Web 3 internet, the internet of value, as like a little baby duckling. It's like a golden goose, but it's a little baby duckling. It can't lay eggs yet. So you don't want to kill it. You want to let it grow up so you can tax those eggs later. Like, feel free to tax us later, but like, let the damn thing grow. And so just, you gotta create a wide berth for innovators, while also, being mindful of what the reality is on the ground. Like, the reality is, bank overdraft charges are an order of magnitude bigger problem than crypto fraud. Address that, right? And try to grow tax revenue by letting the golden goose grow and letting the United States specifically sort of win the next internet. And the other thing to mention is, like, there's a very big growing trend in crypto. Crypto is very different from startups. So, like, startups, before the pandemic, founders would mainly centralize in like a couple cities in the US, and like most startup unicorns were happening in the US. That is not true in crypto. Founders are way more mobile. They'll literally move countries. They'll start projects pseudonymously. And you're seeing more and more some of the great founders, starting in Korea, starting in Asia, starting in other countries. And frankly, they essentially just write off the United States completely. They say, we don't actually worry about the US because we don't care about them. That's not where the future is going, because the writing is on the wall at the moment. Should things become more clear, we will care about them. But the rest of the world doesn't need the US for crypto. And so it's almost like, if you view this like micro, remember the mistake with a bit license with New York, where it's like they overshot New York's importance in the crypto world. Well, the US might overshoot its importance in on a global stage with crypto, and it would be a very big mistake to do that. And frankly, you have to ask, like, who benefits? Who's asking for this, and who benefits from this?
Right. And one thing I want to point out to people is that the American population is extremely small compared to the rest of the world. We're talking about 300 million out of 7 billion. That's nothing. I mean, we don't have much push. And then, like you said, in the crypto world, you can be successful anywhere. So, that sort of is a paradigm shift. I don't think a lot of Americans realize is happening right in front of our eyes. We're changing from, the global power to maybe not so much in the future, when we should be ahead of this. And I've always said Bitcoin is as American as apple pie. This is the freedom that we've been discussing. This is why this country was created. Why would we not take charge? That's why, like you said, there may be some other things at play that we don't know about. So one thing I wanted to point out.
Sorry. No, you go. You're getting me riled up. I have like so many talking points on this, but you go. Ask. Keep going.
Oh, good. Yeah, I just wanted to ask as well. You talked about other countries. What other cities are on the roadmap for CityCoins to be adopted? And what are some of the ones that are coming up soon? I know there's Austin, maybe San Francisco. What about internationally? What cities do you think will adopt CityCoins?
Yeah, so I'd say like the community wants to dot up the map in the US first, because if we as a community win in the US, we can win. We can win elsewhere. And part of the reason I say that is because we don't want CityCoins to be everywhere on the globe except the US for our specific thing. So most crypto doesn't care about the US. We do. And we think actually CityCoins can help kind of buoy, like if the US starts descending, CityCoins can actually be a way to help it ascend. And we really care about that. So do want to win in the US. And part of the reason we want to win in the US is frankly, a lot of the people who are involved in the project live in the US, right? And, some cities where some cities we're looking at where the mayors are showing real interest are Austin, Texas, San Francisco, Reno, Nevada, Philadelphia. Like all those mayors know about CityCoins, and it's like in, they're talking about it. There's other cool cities too, like, Tel Aviv, Bangalore, India is a big one. I want to mine Bangalore coin. I want to build on Bangalore coin. I think bet on Indian people. And I think that's a good bet. Lagos, Nigeria is one. That's a huge one. Sao Paulo, Rio, Buenos Aires, Mexico City, Berlin, London, Paris. A big one, Singapore. That's a twofer. That's a nation and a city. So you get a double whammy there. Seoul, the colloquial, sort of, they call it the kimchi premiums. Like the people in Korea love crypto. They totally get it. There's a good developer community out there, and the Stack Seoul community is like huge, and they can't wait. I mean, essentially, you just want to make sure all the mayors of these cities are technological progressives and want to build and want to sort of build their protocols out. So, we as a community, what we do is we kind of like think which cities we want to go to next. These are like desired cities. These aren't cities we are going to launch or activate rather, because it takes two to tango. You need real buy-in. Like, for example, the mayor of New York, which, boy, he's like a breath of fresh air. Like that is like he and Suarez are like visions of the future. Like both they're both technological progressives. They're essentially centrists. Honestly, they're not like really Democrat or Republican. But Eric Adams went on Bloomberg the first day after he gets elected. The first thing he says is, "I want a CityCoin," just like MiamiCoin. And so when a mayor says that, the community activates a CityCoin, and the activation is like a community based thing. There's like 20 wallets that activate it, and there's no VC, there's no early VCs, there's no ICO, no pre-mine, as I mentioned. So you got to have a technologically progressive mayor. If a mayor says, "Yeah, it's something I'd look into," it's like that ain't gonna cut it. Like you got to be on board and like really want this thing and be committed, to activate. So essentially every technologically progressive mayor is going to get a CityCoin. Every sort of startup city, every crypto city, every big brand city is going to get it. And then, eventually all the small cities will get it too.
Absolutely. And I want to jump to something that actually happened today. A guy running for the presidency of South Korea actually just issued NFT so that people that support his actual campaign can get an NFT that'll get them tickets to events later, that'll actually get them different identifiers for his campaign. Do you think something like that could be issued for mayors using the Stacks protocol? I know we talk mostly about CityCoins, but do you think NFTs could be another aspect of the Stacks protocol on top of Bitcoin that could be used by mayors in different cities?
Yeah, absolutely, Isaiah. Like, so they could do NFTs on Bitcoin using Stacks. And so what happens is, let's say they sell $100,000 NFTs. Well, then they just got those Stacks, which yield 10% APY in Bitcoin. So it's almost like a double donation. You're getting, you almost have like, you're getting Bitcoin yield like every 10 minutes. So it's like, you didn't get donated to once by someone. You got donated to ongoingly as a function of them setting those Stacks. So, Stacks is like the only protocol I know that yields Bitcoin. And so like, honestly, like Bitcoin from like a political standpoint is like politically neutral. Every country, every mayor, every president, every city, they're all going to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. They're all going to fundraise in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is pure money. It's like, you can't mess with it. And that's really important. Because you have rival countries, rival cities. You don't want any country having any advantage over the sort of, the sort of money supply or the money that you hold. So they're all asking for Bitcoin. They all want Bitcoin, and so this really sort of only works on Bitcoin, to be honest.
Right, and I think it will be funny to see the narrative switch from should I get into crypto if I want to be mayor? It'll switch to I won't be mayor if we don't have a crypto plan. I think that is when we start to see the big switch. Once you have a few dozen cities that they don't want to be last. They're very competitive. And just to finish up here.
I was just going to say, is it possible to be a political candidate without a Twitter account? That's like the question of the Web 2 era. And the question of the Web 3 era is like, if you don't have a sort of crypto policy or like stance on crypto, or you're not leveraging crypto in some way, can you be an effective politician?
Right.
Yeah. So.
All right. And one last here, I just wanted to ask you here, going into the future, let's say 20 years from now, where do you see the CityCoins project, and how do you think it will progress?
Yeah, I think every city, every startup city on earth is going to have its own CityCoin. I think eventually there'll be country coins, there'll be state coins, country coins. And I think just generally speaking, governments are going to get like really capital efficient. People are going to have a lot more say. It's going to be way more democratic. Like it's going to be closer to direct democracy than we've had previously. So you have like, you can vote with your ballot, you can vote with your feet, and then you can vote with your coin. And those are really important levers. And I think also everyone with an internet connection is going to be a stakeholder in some digital assets, and they're gonna be a stakeholder out of necessity and opportunity. Necessity because money printer go burr. The money, like we're printing too much money. People escape inflation by going into hard assets or risk on assets. So that's why they'll own digital assets. And the accessibility part is, you have like Robinhood, Coinbase, you have, Kraken, OKCoin. These are all these, it just can be so much easier to get your hands on crypto, NFTs, etc. So just as people are residents of cities, they're going to be sort of digital citizens and stakeholders of protocols, and they're going to have a lot more say. It's like power to the people. We want that.
Oh yeah, getting back to the democracy we all know and love in America with CityCoins. Love to hear it. Thank you so much for being on the show, Patrick.
Thanks for having me, Isaiah. It's good seeing you.
Absolutely, likewise. And that's it for this episode of Community Crypto. I'm your host, Isaiah Jackson, and every week we're building a global community with local crypto groups. So be sure to tune in every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern on CoinDesk TV. See you then.